Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.
It is the weekend. It is beautiful weather on the outside. And guess what? You checked into the hottest spot in town. This is where we have those difficult conversations. And you can feel comfortable doing that because there are some things we don't want to talk about that we should talk about. I'm a strong believer that if you sit down with a conversation, you can come up with a better solution. And that's the way we do it right here each and every day on Sunshine's Corner. Let me welcome you in to tell somebody to tell somebody else. When it is a topic that is hot and at the top, this is where you need to be. I tell you, we're going to be talking today with my good friend. Yes. We've got Commissioner Lumon May. He's here with us today. We also have my girl, Clarissa Shumo. She's here with us today. And my good friend, Jeff Knoll. He's also in with us today. So when I say that this is a conversation that is absolutely necessary, we know that we are so close to decision making this time. It is time now to make a decision because coming up in November, in just a few weeks, then we're going to be making a decision that is going to affect not only me, but the entire country. So look, when it comes to making decisions like that, don't you think that when we put things together and we compile them all, that we can come up with a better situation? Of course we can. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about everything that everybody needs to be aware of. And I tell you, it's no more time for pity-patting around because this is too serious. When I say something serious, we've got to be real. And believe me, when it's come to being real, that's why I got this panel here with me today so we can talk the realness of it, you know? And I tell you, I see Commissioner over there got a big old smile on his face, so I wonder why he's smiling so hard. Good morning, Commissioner Lumon May.
Sunshine, I'm smiling because I'm with you. I mean, who could follow behind you? I mean, the cadence, the rhythm, the sound, that voice is real. I mean, I tell you what, I'm just happy to be here, Sunshine. Thank you for inviting me.
No, thank you so very much. And of course, Clarissa, you've been in this spot before with me, and I thank you for coming again this morning. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you for the invite.
You've got a strong voice in this community as well.
I do my very best.
Absolutely. And my good friend, Mr. Jeff Knoll. Come on, Jeff. He is always prepared. He's got the printout. He's got everything printed out, statistics. All we have to do is say, okay, Jeff, what about this?
Hey.
I don't know. I'm going to copy off of those. But thank you for the invitation, Sunshine. You do an excellent job and a great voice for the community. So thank you for the invitation.
No, thank
Happy
you.
to be here.
Thank you so very much. So let's just start off the way it truly is. We have what, 19 days left?
18 days.
I mean,
Yes.
we are right around the corner.
And early voting begins next week.
So we're
Monday.
going, bless you, Lumon. I was
you.
listening to you earlier, and I could tell that you were a little stuffy there.
I am Sunshine, and so I took a little cold medicine, but when Sunshine calls, I mean, no matter even if you're sick, you got to get here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, make me smile. But anyway, let's talk about this. Now, we are right around the corner from this election that's coming up. The general election is going to be November the 5th. It is a utterly important election, and we want to make sure that our viewing audience is ready. Let's not relax. Because I think sometimes when we feel like we know we have something, you become so relaxed when you're not sure. This is going to be a tight election. And I believe that in my heart.
And there's nothing that can be taken for granted.
Nothing.
There's a lot of enthusiasm behind Vice President Harris and Governor Walz, but we can take nothing for granted.
I agree. I do agree, because once you do that and get relaxed, that's when you get that surprise and you're running like, oh, which way should I go? What am I going to do? Clarissa, I see this look on your face. I know you got something to say.
Well, as important as the top of the ticket is, I think it's also important in that we make sure that we're putting out there to make sure people do the whole ballot.
Exactly.
Go all the way down.
Exactly.
Because the top of the ticket needs support.
Right.
And that is what is so important. So,
And
but we cannot take nothing for granted.
I agree. And I tell you, I feel like Lumon is crying over there.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, Sunshine, I mean, it's tears of joy.
Okay. He was tapping there. So, oh my God, is he crying? I feel the same way, but I'm not crying yet. But Lumon, I know you've got something that's inspiring. I want the audience to realize that, make sure we've got everything in order, because we can think so, and we don't. I think we're going to talk about all the things that you got to have with you in order to vote. Early voting starts next week. Let's not procrastinate. Get yourself together. Let's go do this.
Well, sometimes I'm sure Jeff will hit on them. I mean, but we have some very important things.
Right.
Whether it's Amendment 3,
Oh,
whether it's
God.
Amendment 4. Those are critical. That it's going to affect our life long after the elected.
Right.
I mean, you know, when we look at Roe versus Wade, I mean, how long it's been since we could get women's reproductive rights back on the
Right,
ballot.
exactly.
When we look at the mass incarceration of people because of marijuana, and some people can legally utilize it, and others are being incarcerated for many, many years. I mean, it's very important to get those amendments. Here locally, we have a tax increase. We have a penny for progress, a half-cent sales tax for school board for buildings.
Okay.
I mean, you know, quite frankly, the district that I represent has supported that down through the years. I mean, but you know, it's an issue that has to be talked about.
Absolutely.
When people talk about, you know, locally, there's not a middle school in District 3 or the conditions of our high schools. Oh, well, you are voting for a capital tax, which is a sales tax.
Absolutely.
And, it's quite frankly a consumer tax. Because usually people who from low income areas who are consumers who buy goods all the time, they pay a lot more taxes for candy bars, sodas, beer, cigarettes, and those type of things than other geographical communities. So we have to look at those. I mean, it's important to get the top of the ticket, but we also have to look locally.
Exactly.
Look at your local elections, because probably 99.9% of those of us who are here at this table and are listening will never meet the president, the vice president,
You got
and you
that
probably
right.
will never meet your senator.
You got that
I mean,
right.
you're lucky if you meet your House rep and your state rep. So when you look at these seats, whether it's a school board seat or ECUA seat, a county commissioner seat, or state rep seat, those are the things that directly affect your life.
Right.
I mean, obviously, the culture and the tone is set by the national ticket.
Absolutely.
I mean, so you should get engaged, involved, because of the federal policies. Whether it be Medicare, Medicaid, whether it be, I mean, a state issue is insurance, whether it be infrastructure grants, or whether it be, you know, educational grants that come down to the state, it affects all of us. So,
Absolutely.
You know, you said earlier, you know, why should we vote? I mean, vote like this is the most important election you've ever voted in.
I agree.
And because
Absolutely.
each and every time you vote, it is the most important
Thank you.
vote
That's
you'll
right.
ever do in your
No
life.
doubt.
And they're exactly right. Oh, and by the way, talking about reaching out to your elected officials, we'll be showing Lumon's cell number on the screen.
Okay.
Hey, Jeff, here's the great thing. Unlike other politicians, I've had the same cell number for 25 years. I give it to every little league kid I coach, everything, and people say, well, you didn't
I've
answer.
tried to leave you a voicemail. I believe that.
So, you know, I just have the same
you
number.
can't do that.
They're exactly right. You know, top of the ticket is where there's a lot of enthusiasm, but down ballot in the local races, or where a lot of things that when people are saying, well, why should I vote?
Right.
These down ballot races and other initiatives, and then the amendments in Florida, there's lots of things that people need to be voting for.
I
There's
agree.
multiple reasons to get
Absolutely.
out there and exercise their right to vote.
That's right.
Every vote does matter, and everyone needs to have their voice heard.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
agree. We talk about it all the time.
Yes,
Correct.
and I encourage everyone to vote early because you just don't know what happens on election
You
day.
living on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, you just
a
don't.
fact.
Absolutely, and all those that vote absentee, there's nothing wrong with calling up Supervisor of Elections to confirm they've received your ballot, or go online and check to make sure that they've received your ballot. So you want to make sure your voice is heard. Anybody that needs a ride to the, to the polls, those things will be provided as well. I know I'm taking a ton of people, as I do.
Really? Are the
all
churches
the
going to be
time.
participating in that this year? Because they usually do. Have we? I've been talking about this. I've put this out there several
Well, we've been
times.
talking about a poll.
October
so-
27th, I've heard, is designated as Sold to the Polls Day. That's
Okay.
Sunday, October 27th.
Okay.
That is an early voting day. And to Clarissa's point about vote by mail, at the end of 2022, the vote by mail rolls were purged.
Right.
This was done by the
Right.
Florida legislature.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So if someone thought that they were signed up for vote by mail and did not get a primary ballot in August vote by mail, that should be an indicator that something's not right.
Absolutely.
So you have to re-enroll, and you have until next Thursday, the 24th, to request
okay.
a vote by mail ballot. And you can do that on the Supervisor Elections website.
That's right.
Or by calling them. But I would encourage people to do that, like she said, sooner rather than later. Because if you wait till the 24th, it's got to be in the hands of the Supervisor Elections
That day.
by Election Day.
Right.
By 7
So,
p.m.
Call now if you think there's any doubt that you are interested in vote by mail, and there's any doubt that you may not be on the list currently.
Right.
You need to make that call this morning.
850-595-3900.
That's it.
Yes,
the
that's
number.
it.
That is the number. Make sure you call that number, because I did that myself to make sure. I called. It took me less than 2 minutes.
And Robert Bender is great, Sunshine. I watched him on your show. I had
is
the
great.
opportunity to serve with Robert. I can
Right.
just tell you when Jeff said, my number, he's giving it out, but Robert is a guy that will answer his cell phone.
Yes, he will.
Yes.
And he wants everyone to get a vote.
Yes, he does.
Regardless of your political party, your affiliation.
Absolutely.
I'm very thankful to have a supervisor of elections because we're not experiencing it, and Jeff could come in on the problems that we're having with voter fraud.
Now, come on, let's talk about
it. That's across this country,
Right.
whether in Georgia
Right.
and other places. Jeff, I think we've had a pretty smooth transition in voting here.
I think we have, and Tappy Villain and her staff over in Santa Rosa are saying the same thing. There's no widespread voter fraud and all this shenanigans. That,
It's just something
there's
put in the
always a
air
conspiracy
to
theory
cause-
out there
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
but the reality is, Mr. Bender and Ms. Villain are doing a great job to ensure voting integrity, and they will both tell you that.
Now, coming up on the election day, do you think what should we have people think about? You know how sometimes there are people out there to try to, on the sidelines, to try to get you discouraged or saying shouldn't be doing this. You know how the rhetoric goes when you see people. You've seen it in many other states. I don't know what this happened here in Florida before. However, that kind of thing, we want to remind people, just keep on moving. Don't worry about what anybody says to you. You got your mind made up. That's a personal decision. I see that look on Calissa's face. She didn't know that was happening. Yeah, they do it.
No, they do. I am aware about that, and it's important when you hear that rhetoric to just shut that down and you need to do your civic duty, do what you know is the right thing to do. Now, and some of this, critical thinking, if you will, you can question when someone comes to you with some of the things that are being said out there. It's like, does that really make sense? Why? Type of thing, because it's common sense. It should be common, and when you really think about what's being said, no one should really believe that. You shouldn't believe who's going to these extremes or doing these things to make sure that if you go vote, X, Y, and Z is going to happen to you. No, it's not. Go vote.
Well, I tell you what,
It's all
I'm
right.
excited when day of election is like Super Bowl Sunday for
Oh,
me.
yeah. Oh,
As
yeah.
fan is Jeff. I love getting out there. I love
Yeah.
the banner. I love my opponents trying to convince somebody to vote against me.
That's what I'm saying.
I love working the polls. Jeff works the polls for
Right.
me. Marissa's work the polls. It's a fun day for me. It's a holiday for me.
Come on.
I mean, and so I believe that when someone's walking into the poll, even the last voice that they may hear, they may be a little on the fence. And if they hear something that may convince them, or if they see somebody that they can relate to and understand, because they could have gotten the misinformation by campaigns and commercials and literature. But when they can, Jeff helped me with a shirt to ask me about Lumon May when I ran for state rep. You know what? Now this person that lives in your neighborhood that can, at the end, when you're walking in, they can encourage you, they can talk to you, and they can clarify it. And for me, Sunshine, I'm a competitor. It's just fun for me to be
telling
out
me?
there.
I know.
Yeah. I'm like, line up, let's go. May the best man win. Let's go. Best woman win. Let's go, let's go. I wake up in the morning, I'm yelling. I'm going to be at polls the entire election day. I will be one of those people out there yelling, waving, saying, let's go, let's go. I'm
Put
a
your hands in the
cheerleader.
air.
Waving like you just don't care. I mean, I'm a cheerleader. You know
When we
what I
fight,
mean?
we win. Hey. Yes.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Ready, set, go.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, so we're
and that
ready.
is an important piece as well, because what I've learned when you're out there at the polls, that is a time for people that there's some on the fence about certain things, and you're there to answer questions and let them know what's going on and giving them information. And yeah, I'll be out there too.
Absolutely.
And
We're
you know,
all going to be out there.
Sunshine, it's a good opportunity to participate in your democracy.
Yes, it is.
In your government.
Yes.
I mean, because it comes every 4 years, and it gives you an opportunity to share your views. And it gives you an opportunity to listen at other views. Because, it's just not black and white. There's a gray area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fundamentally, whether you're independent, whether you
Is it
no
black
party
or
affiliated,
white?
Republican, Democrat, black, white, red, yellow, green. We all want what's best for our children, our grandchildren,
most
and what for our
certainly.
community.
Absolutely.
We may have different routes of taking, but at the end, most of us just want to do what's good for
Exactly.
our country, for our
Yes.
state, for our city, for our county.
I agree.
And so, we may have different ideologies, different opinions, and you're entitled to that. And to me, the freedom of free thought, free speech, free press
Absolutely.
is critical.
Absolutely.
And I think that when we begin to censor that, then we are killing the next generation. I mean, we already don't have civics in school.
That's right.
Our kids don't know about campaigning elections.
That's right.
The apathy that has happened because there's no excitement. I mean, it's just like going to church, man. You want to go to a church and be inspired.
Amen.
When you want children and young people to work in a campaign, I always tell my campaign, we don't run a boring campaign. We don't run a sad campaign. We got energy every single day that we come in here.
Yes.
And to me,
Absolutely.
that's what we have to do if we're going to continue to win campaigns. We have to re-energize our people and make people realize that they are important to this vote.
Most certainly.
I mean, what do I get out of this vote, Commissioner? What
That's
do I get
right.
out of this vote, Vice President
right.
Harris? What do I get out of this vote? I mean, we have to make people see the importance of voting and let them have fun. It's kind of like, I love to raise money, and it's called fundraising.
Right.
Fun raising.
raising.
You have fun. You
Raising
doing
the
it.
money.
Raising the money. And so
I
you have to
got
have fun.
He breaks it down the way it should be broken, right? We're going to go to
Okay.
break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about how will black voters impact 2024 election. It depends on the generation. That's what we're asking. We're going to talk about that. But let me say thank you to all that's going to be with me on October 26th. You know that this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I want to thank those who have jumped on to walk with me downtown. We are making a big statement. Thank you to Rise City Church, there, Pastor Burns. Thank you for jumping aboard. We've got Sunday's Barbecue. Thank you for being with me, as well as Stalworth Insurance. We appreciate you. And of course, Mr. Ron Helm from District 4. He's going to be walking with us as well. We'll be back to talk with more what's important to you on Sunshine's Corner.
My father was from Mexico. He had me in this country. My mother, her side of the family was a combination of German, Russian, Polish, typical American story. Because of their, wanting to come to this country for a better life, one of the biggest parts of that was having a vote. I live in this country. One of my most important rights is the right to cast a vote. You're an American citizen. You have the right to vote. Take advantage of that right. Affect change around you that you want to see. My name's Eduardo Lara, and I am strongly encouraging you to just vote.
Good day, Pensacola. Welcome to a new segment on health and wellness sponsored by Baptist Healthcare in partnership with Sunshine's Corner. Every first Wednesday of the month during Sunshine's telecast, we're going to be bringing you information about health and wellness and ways to make sure we're improving the quality of your health care here in Pensacola. After all, we want to ensure that you're going to the right place at the right time and for the right reason, and that you don't feel alone. Can't wait to see you.
When I saw the tumor on the MRI, my first thought was, am I going to be able to see my daughter again? The doctors knew if I did not end my pregnancy, I would lose my baby, I would lose my life, and my daughter would lose her mom. Florida has now banned abortion, even in cases like mine. Amendment 4 is going to protect women like me. We have to vote yes.
Let's work together to end breast cancer. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Blab TV and Sunshine's Corner, we're joining this year's annual Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk, and we want you to join us. Making Strides is happening on Saturday, October 26th, Seville Square, 8 a.m. A big thank you to all of our sponsors. We couldn't do it without you. And we can't end breast cancer without you. I'll see you there.
I'm good.
Sometimes thank you for calling. Because had you not
And
called, I would have
welcome
made
back to the hottest spot in town. Yeah, you're welcome anytime, Lumon. Anytime. I'll do that. We're back at the hottest spot in town. As you can tell, we have conversations off camera. But what we're going to do now, I want to go back to the fact what we were talking about earlier, and that is, how will the black voters impact 2024 election? I was reading, doing some, some studying up on this, and of course, now we are leaning toward I'm talking about the general election right now, of course, because I think it's utterly important that we know this, that it is a lot with the women going to be a determining factor in this election. Lumon, answer me this. With the young black men that we're finding, some of them are leaning the other way or undecided.
Well, Sunshine, I think every vote counts.
Every vote counts.
I think traditionally there has been a sense of apathy among African American young males who have not been able to see the importance of their vote.
Okay.
And I think a lack of that is a lack of education. I'm a Bible reader, and my people perish because of their lack of knowledge.
Okay.
Oftentimes, young black men have been isolated from the political process.
Okay.
And whether you're on either side of the party line, sometimes their vote has been taken for granted or just ignored. and
You
not
think?
included.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so I think that, quite frankly, the women's vote has been, a vote of probably higher turnout than the young African American male votes. I think now, because you see these rappers and sports celebrities engaging for the first time, you see young African American males want to be a part of the process. And so even when 8 years ago, we had the first time we had a African American contender for governor, Andrew Gillum. Lost by 50,000 votes statewide. Had African American males turned out, Andrew Gillum would probably be in the governor's house right now. So when we look at this national race, Sunshine, for me, I look at it from a grassroots level of how are we engaging. I think whichever party, whichever candidate can connect. And it's about connectivity.
Right.
Sure. They come from a different generation, Sunshine. You said young black male. They have TikTok. They have social media. They have cell phone. They don't remember the white missionaries coming from the north, coming to Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, to help get people registered to vote. They don't understand counting a jelly bean and being counted as 3/5 of a person. They don't understand Jim Crow. They've never read those books. They don't know the marches because they are a generation away. We were a generation connected because when you came out of 1968, my mom graduated in 1964. We understand integration. We understand segregation. We understand the sacrifices that our grandparents made and our parents made for us to have the opportunity to vote. But unfortunately,
do they not see though that some of that's happening now though?
I would. So you can only see what you believe, and you can be. They have not been able to touch it and feel it. And quite frankly, Sunshine, I think it's because of the lack of education or miseducation. Unfortunately, in an effort for many of us to give our children a better opportunity in life, we forget to remind them of the struggle. And so I think that many of the young people have never experienced the struggle because life has been good to them as they know it. And so I think it's important for those of us in leadership, whether it be the faith-based, whether it be the pastors, whether it be the activists of Jeff and LBGQ or the Black Caucus or the Women Caucus, it's important to go out and engage those young people and bring them back into the fold. And quite frankly, I believe that the young vote is not in any fold, but they are available to be reached out to. I mean, you have to reach out to them to bring them in. And all of my campaigns, I run a young people's campaign because young people have energy. And oftentimes we forget it, and we just want you to go vote, but we don't want your input. We want you to go work and wave, but we don't want your input. If we're going to take the work, we got to take their input, and it may not be the same strategies that Jeff used. We're over 50 years old. You know what I mean? Some of the young people, they have different ideas. When the young people who ran my campaign, who were 19 and 20 years old, I mean, they were doing things I would have never thought of.
Absolutely.
And it was some things that Miss Leola probably thought, well, you can't do, because my mom or Neil or Lynn. But these young people, they have great ideas. And we have to embrace their ideas and make them be a part. And I would say this, from the state level, when young people are watching CNN, they're watching Fox News, they're watching MSNBC, and they see nobody that looks like them, that can communicate with them, but then you want them. Well, that's not good. And so if either party, if Vice President Harris wants young black males, well, she has to show young black males in her cabinet. She has to show young black males who are being a part of the team and being put in leadership. And so I think that both parties have kind of missed it. I think that we have a guy on the other side that can sensationalize anything. What I mean?
My Lord.
Wow. When Trump started dancing to rap music, I said, whoa.
Whoop that is.
Whoop that is.
God, my God.
Listen, I love black men.
To Lumon's point, I think we are seeing some movement in the younger folks. I think Haley Morissette is running a very
great campaign.
She is.
Campaign, doing some stuff and reaching out in ways that would probably be considered, like Lumon said, non-traditional campaign methods. Dondre Wise, who was on the show with you and I a couple of weeks ago, he's got a strategy for involving young people. So I think people are beginning to understand that some of this thing that, okay, my life's pretty good because all these people did this stuff. I don't really know what all they had to go through, but I'm good.
Right.
I think they're seeing that's not a given.
That's where I was going to go.
And
Continue.
So I think they're waking up a little bit. I think Amendment 4 and Amendment 3 have also thrown some new light on that. But I do think there are strong campaigns, on the local level, as I mentioned, Haley. You got Maxwell Frost in Congress, out of Orlando, the first Gen X person, Gen Z member of Congress. He's energizing people. So I think it is coming up.
Okay.
Jeff, I believe it too. I mean, I'm sorry, Clarissa, I didn't even cut you
Go
off.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Like we're on MSNBC.
Hey,
Come on now.
Yeah,
do your thing, do your thing, do your thing, and
I'll be Fox News. No, I'll be CNN.
So let me say this before he cuts me off, man. It is important that the young people understand, if you don't know about the past, you're doomed to repeat it. Because it is not a given what you have and where you are. So you might be comfortable and okay, but it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to stay that way.
That's right.
And there are things that are out there that want to turn back the hands of time. So it is important to engage. And when you think about a Maxwell Frost, and Haley's bringing a whole nother energy, and I'm telling you, I talk to people who are working on our campaign, and they are talking about things and doing things in ways I would have never thought about, and what their concerns are, which are very valid, and those things need to be spoken, and it's great that voice is there. So we're seeing it a bit on the local, more so on our local level.
When you really think about it, there are two items, as Jeff just alluded to, Amendment 3 and 4, that young people can connect to.
Exactly.
Yes.
Those two items. And
That
to me,
they do.
I believe that you're going to see, Sonshine, a higher voter turnout with young people than ever, particularly in the state of Florida.
Okay.
I mean, because young people can identify with those two things because those two amendments directly affect their lives. You know what I mean? And so to me, what makes this election so special is because of Amendment 3 and 4 on the ballot.
Yes.
And I think we're going to have record-breaking turnout here in Florida.
I
I really do. And I think Jeff would probably talk more about his scammy or Clarissa. Because I'm looking more at the state level, but I think at the state level we're going to have a great turnout.
Absolutely.
Well, I would agree with that. And, there's a group called, it's a PAC that was created by the high school Democrats and the college Democrats. It's called Florida Future Leaders.
Is that the young guy you brought here?
Yeah, Jaden D'Onofrio. They've got a ground game on the college campuses all across the state, and they have been at it, and they're reaching out in non-traditional ways. They've given out rolling papers that say "roll up to the polls."
Oh, really?
And condoms that said "don't get you know what by the you know who."
Oh, God.
No, but did you see how it caught our attention?
I like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
It caught our attention.
So there is a organized everywhere from FAMU to in Gainesville to most of all of the larger universities, they've got a ground game going, and they're doing a lot of good work.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, we want you to be a part of this conversation as well. Now, this is not one that we're going to leave you out of the loop. If you've got questions with our panel, I encourage you to call 850-432-7768. Call or text. Let's talk about it. You see how easy it is for us to converse, and we find out different things that we motivate each other. And that's what it's all about, getting that positivity out there. And I like to bring on this fact, even for myself, that what's in the air. I feel the difference in the air. When I may ask you a question that may seem like I'm going on a negative, but no, I want to bring that out so I can point out what is really in the atmosphere, which is positivity, with the other persons that are running who are yet talking about the negativity. But I think that what we see now, when we're reaching toward the middle class, is what Vice President Harris is talking about mostly, that she's going to make sure that the middle class has this, where she's looking out for people who want to buy a home. That's going to give them monies to buy a home. I mean, with the taxes, the increases, all of this stuff she's talking about. So that affects even not only the upper class, the middle class and the lower class, what she wants to realize, to let them know what I feel. She's saying, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I mean, she walked some of the same roads. She worked at McDonald's to work her way through. So therefore, she's feeling the same vibe. But what we want to do is not to just give for the taxes for the rich. we need to focus on the middle class as well. But we got to educate. Even with the amendments 3 and 4, we still got to educate our young people on the other effects that's on that ballot. Right. It's a long one.
It's a long one.
It is a long one.
It's a long one this year. So listen, we're going to continue to talk about it. And I encourage you to call to be a part of the conversation. 850-432-7768. Call or text, or if you would like to sit back and just consume all of this great information we're putting out there, I invite you to do the same. Again, let me say thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart for those who are believing in what I'm putting out there about breast cancer, that we should show up in numbers coming up on October 26th at Seville so we can make a difference for those who are suffering. You may not have suffered it personally, but there's somebody possibly in your family or friend that has gone through this terrible disease. Thank you again, Rise City Church. Thank you again, Sonny's Barbecue, Ron Helms, and Starworth Insurance. And of course, your Sunshine right here, Sunshine's Corner.
You finally found the perfect car in Racing Blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Messick Insurance Agency in Pensacola if Auto Owners make sense for you.
Keep going, more. No, stop!
I remember the doctor handing me a baby boy that was blue, and I just held him because he was so cold. Due to the abortion ban, I was being forced to carry the baby from 23 weeks all the way to 37 weeks. And knowing that my son was going to die.
Having to watch your wife be in pain and continue to tell her to keep going, that everything's gonna be okay, knowing it's not. That was the hardest thing.
Government had no right to do that to my family. This ban is torture.
You're not going to vote. Seriously? Do you want your rights taken away? Seriously? You say that you're not going to vote, but you do? Well, think about it. If you don't, you've already lost them. Let me tell you something. If you do not vote, then you're giving up your rights. Think about it. I just need you to just vote. This is Sunshine's Corner, keeping you informed right here as we always do, because I truly believe that knowledge is power. And once you receive that knowledge, we got to apply it, use it so we can make things even better. Again, let me thank all of those who got up early this morning. We're talking about Commissioner Lumon May and my girl Clarissa Shumo. And of course, I'm going to call him my book.
Right.
Jeff
Yeah.
Nall.
The plug. The plug, baby.
That's the plug right there.
He's a plug.
And, I mean, he has so many things. Now, we were talking about earlier before we came on about something you have on there about people that can take people to the polls.
Yeah.
And whereas because it was out there that they couldn't at one time, there was so much rhetoric going on.
Well, there's a lot of
yes.
A lot of changes. Like I said, I mentioned the change in the vote by mail law, and there are also changes on who can take your, because you can drop off your early vote ballot at a early voting location, but there's been changes to who can actually do that. You can take your spouse's ballot and turn it in, but for example, you can't go to your mother's nursing home and go door to door and take
get everybody's.
Right. So there's been some changes. So again, if there's any doubt, call the supervisor of elections, both in Escambia and Santa Rosa County. They got great folks that'll answer those questions.
What would they have to do now to prove themselves? That let's say if I was your wife and I couldn't get there, but you had my ballot. Now, what you're going to have to prove that I'm your wife, that you got that to drop it off?
As a supervisor election question.
There you go.
But there is something that I think people don't really understand is there is assistance in voting in person. So, and this is from the Escambia Supervisor Elections website. Any voter who requires assistance in voting due to a disability or inability to read or write English is entitled to assistance in voting. You may bring someone with you to assist you, or 2 of our poll workers from different political parties will assist you as needed. So there is support for those that are disabled, can't see, can't read. English is not their most proficient language, so there is an opportunity for everybody to have their voice heard.
I got you.
Wow, that's pretty good. I mean, most people probably don't know that.
I'm sure they don't.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they don't. You sent me a link last night to our website. Yeah, let's talk about that because I thought that was interesting. Did you bring it with you?
Yeah. I can find my phone somewhere.
And I mean, there was some interesting numbers there.
Yeah, there is a website that is updated very, very regularly where you can find out like how many people have voted already.
Fresh Take Florida, data,
But that's some very important information because I was reading through that last night. But we want to give that website to people who's interested, who want to keep up like me.
Okay. Can you?
Fresh Take, FRESH Take.vote.
There it is.
Yep. It'll show you the state. The state, but then it also has a drop down. You can choose county by county. So you can look at Escambia, and then you could even say, well, Escambia is similar to county XYZ. You can go to the drop down for that county and make your own comparison. So it's statewide data as well as county by county data.
And you can go to a supervisory election, and they keep a running count of
exactly.
And this is where that's pulled from. But say, for example, you wanted to compare Escambia and Santa Rosa.
Of course.
You'd have to go to both websites, or you could go to some place like this, and you
where the links are provided.
But the information is updated regularly by the supervisor of elections office.
Excellent.
So
and I tell you, Robert
comes
Bender,
from.
he has really been a source of information because he's been on several times. He will be back again. As a matter of fact, he'll be back here next week on the 22nd, I believe. I got him scheduled because we're going to be coming up with some people need to be educated even on the ballot. On Monday, I have 2 different guests coming in, but there's going to be one talking about going to explain the amendments. And so that people will understand the amendments. We got that coming up on Monday so that they'll know everything, not just 3 and 4, 1 through 6. They'll know them all.
That's right.
And therefore, we're also planning an event that I will tell you the date that we want to do it. We're going to do it during early voting, that we're going to call the community together for those who do not even understand the ballot, where people understand that if you have that sample ballot that's mailed to you, you can fill that ballot out and take it in with you to make sure. Now, Robert Bender made that very clear. Now, if you got your sample ballot in the mail, go ahead, fill it out. You can take that into when you're ready to vote and make sure you got, did I forget? But it's already there. Mark it so you already have it. But we got a week, evening, we're going to call the community for those who don't understand the ballot, because there's a lot of us out there. And don't feel embarrassed if you don't. You'll never know unless you ask questions. It's okay. I mean, because sometimes have you never gone in and said, let me think, what am I voting for here? But this is what the call together is going to be about, that we're going to bring so that people will truly understand. You'll know about it because I'm going to invite you too. And
we'll be here.
Everybody's on this table. I'm going to invite so that we can educate the community for those, especially some of the elderly people. And some of the young as well. Right. Not only do they need to understand 3 and 4, but they need to understand that entire ballot, because a lot of that's going to affect us here locally. And so therefore, if you do not know, don't go in there to scratch. Say, I filled it out. But know what you're voting for. Who are you supporting? What are they going to bring different to the table to make it better for you right here in Escambia County?
Well, that's a good point. Regardless of the race or the candidate.
Right.
People we can help educate, but there's also a responsibility, I think, for people to educate themselves.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And if they don't want to listen to a news outlet that they think is certain, go to the League of Women Voters website. Yeah. They're straight down the middle and pros and cons, and that's always a good nonpartisan resource for information.
Absolutely.
But people need to ask, what are they doing to help me and my family?
Exactly.
Right.
One of the things that from my time at Council on Aging that I thought was so important that Vice President Harris announced last week is a plan to assist caregivers and extend benefits for those who need in-home care, which is not currently covered by Medicare.
Right.
Gosh, everybody's dealing with parents and kids at the same time and all that. So there's wow, if that's my scenario in my family, I need to read up on that.
That's right.
Because it's not about,
And if you're not dealing with it now, you will be.
right.
One day it's coming.
Right. And, and then, folks that are going to have children, they may have daughters and, they need to ensure those rights. But I think we just need to look at what impacts our life.
Exactly.
Because, it is, Vice President Harris is trying to build an opportunity economy. It's not just about getting by, it's about getting better.
Exactly.
I like that.
I like that.
Yes.
And that's the positive, and the joy. It's always better to vote for something than against something.
Right.
Yes.
I think
absolutely.
right now we have to be realistic about voting. You mentioned democracy and having dialogue and conversation about different opinions and anything. If you enjoy that, you better vote for democracy because you may not be having those conversations anymore.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That chance may
That's
be
all
gone.
being taken
Right.
away.
That's
The good.
right.
So it is up to all of us, regardless of party affiliation, to make sure that we have a democracy so we can continue to have civilized debate and policy differences. So sometimes we got to do there's a lot of folks doing something for the first time,
That's right.
But really going back to asking ourselves, what is this person doing for me?
Right.
And how is this going to affect my family,
Right.
my neighborhood, my community?
Right.
So I think that's
It's absolutely important that we do. And also I wanted to reiterate with this, and when we were talking about where you get your news source from, we got to realize this, even with the younger generation, we know that Facebook, IG, TikTok, X, all of that is at the top of the mind. But sometimes, and we know this as a fact, that a person can take something and cut and paste and make it look so real.
Yes.
Because it's a fast thing, and whatever gets the most likes, and that's what they look for, and it's false, it's not true. Absolutely. So therefore, even though you may see this stuff that's out there, I'm speaking to the younger generation, really do your research. When you see this that's coming up on your social media, and if it's something that's saying how they can take things and splice it and put it together, I'll give you the perfect example. Right after we got through with the last storm, there was a piece that was put on Facebook that went to the top, and it was a total lie about there's another storm coming right behind Milton, and that was not true. It was all over the internet. I even saw it, but what I realized, I said, no, isn't this the same track that was just there with Helene? But the point that I'm making is we've got to make sure that we go to the sources where the news is being reported. And I did not say Fox News. I said you go to a reliable source that you can get the truth about a situation. Don't just take what's hyped on social media. Although I know that there are some things, if you go to TikTok, every single day there's a different a poll going on where people are talking, calling in to talk about these things. So all I'm trying to reiterate this fact. News is out there, but make sure you're getting the right news.
From
so
Sunshine's Corner.
Hey, I know you better talk the truth.
Yes, I love that.
No, it's just the fact of it is, I believe in telling the truth. Sometimes it's difficult to accept the truth, but the truth is what it is. It may hurt for a moment, but it's going to better you. I mean, even with the things, there's some people that call, you should get the messages that I get. I mean, when people are on the show, you won't call me, but you'll leave a message. People on the show now call. Talk to them. Don't just talk to me what you're thinking. Talk to the people that are here. I mean, there have been some things, I think that man needs to go be locked up. Don't just tell me, let's talk about it. I can't make that decision. That's why it's so good to have a conversation. And I encourage everybody to please don't just listen, say your part. When you put 3 or 4 minds together, you can come up with a greater solution. And I think that's what we're looking for, are solutions for here in Escambia County. There was a young lady that was on with me day before yesterday, I believe, Samantha. You know Samantha. Sam, she made some great points. She works with the Harris campaign. And I met her, she's from Miami. But the fact of it is, the point of what she was making is so true. Miss Jewel Canada Win, she was on. All I'm trying to do, it may sound repetitious. Repetition work, because sometimes you got to hear something over and over and over before it sticks.
That's right.
Before you get the real understanding of it. And from now until November the 5th, it's going to be over and over and over, so that we can make sure that our community is aware. So that these things, there are so many things that's going to affect us locally. You talk about Medicaid, you talk about even the things that are put forth, if you have not gone to take the time to look at Project 2025, please call Jerry McIntosh. He's got it printed out with the sections that's going to really affect you, that will be detrimental to all of us. We don't want to go back to a time, and I'll say to myself, and I'm sure you say the same thing, I'm not going back. We need to go forward.
Right.
Absolutely. Can't go back. And that's the point that I want people to understand, why I bring the people in, why I'm continually saying the same thing, but making the point so they'll understand, because I also try to get all of our viewers to understand this as well. It's got to be something powerful that's going to make a change if you don't want me to do it. If I put all of us together, why are you trying to stop me from doing it? There's got to be something powerful behind that. Do you see the scenario, the picture I'm trying to paint? If it's something good, if it weren't any good, you wouldn't bother with it.
Right.
Absolutely.
So therefore, why are you trying to convince me on all of these things that are lies? It's got to be something good behind it, because you don't want me to do it. That's the way we talk right here at your community station. We're talking Sunshine's Corner on Blab TV.
As we come upon this election, it's important for everybody to get out and vote. It is critical. Voting is the cornerstone of our democracy. It lends a voice to everyone, to the people, to make sure that America is the society that we want it to be, that everybody wants it to be. If you don't get out and vote, you really don't have anything to complain about. My name is Troy Rafferty, and I want to encourage everybody to just vote.
Gilmarine, your one-stop shop for all your boating needs. We offer a vast selection of parts, accessories, and electronics. Discover our range of used boats in every size, shape, and brand, all ready to get you on the water today. And we provide expert advice and top-notch customer service to ensure you have the best boating experience. We service all outboard, inboards, stern drives, jet drives, and personal watercraft. Our certified staff will get you back on the water. Visit Gilmarine at 3541 West Fairfield Drive, Pensacola.
Florida's near-total abortion ban outlaws abortion before many women even realize they're pregnant. The ban means many survivors of rape, incest, and human trafficking will be forced to carry their attacker's child against their will. The ban forces doctors to delay critical medical care until their patient is on the brink of death or face felony charges. This ban puts the health, lives, and futures of women in our state at risk. Get the truth about Florida's near-total abortion ban.
Get your tickets now to EntreCon 2024. You'll learn how to turn your dreams of starting a business into a reality. Current business owners will learn the secrets to making your business more successful. With 31 speakers, you'll have access to a diverse range of experts, actionable strategies, and dynamic networking to help you with your path to greatness. EntreCon 2024 is November 13th and 14th at 3 locations in downtown Pensacola. Get your tickets at EntreConPensacola.com. That's EntreConPensacola.com.
And that is, voters.
And welcome back to the hottest spot in town. You know, I love my commissioner, Lumon May, and his allergies are kicking off today. I tell you,
It's tough in the Gulf. Baby.
It's tough in the Gulf.
Tough in the Gulf.
And look, you talking about going out there are you going to the jazz tonight?
You know, Sunshine, our mutual friend, Mr. Cadillac Banks, you know, it's kind of like this. I didn't feel like I could make it this morning, but I said, Sunshine's calling. So, you know, Robert Hill called this morning.
I heard you.
Yeah, so we're doing things, Reddy Brown, then Sunshine called. So how do I say no? You know, if I'm on Robert, now I got to go to Cadillac, you know, and so it's tough, man. But, you know, I take my daddy's philosophy.
Right.
When I'm not feeling well, when I'm sick, I keep going. My dad said, if you're going to take off when you're well.
There you go. So you can enjoy that day off, right?
Enjoy that day off.
Now, we brought up Miss Georgia, the late Miss Georgia. I tell you, Miss Georgia Blackman, she was such a strong force in this community.
Black Vote 2000, man. I'm thinking 24 years ago, she started Black Vote 2000.
Yes.
I mean, right there on East Street. And Sunshine, when you're talking about people calling and the impact that you're having with Sunshine's Corner, Georgia Blackman said every great thing that's ever been done in America was started by a few people.
Absolutely.
A few people can change the world. You know, no matter how long the journey, no matter how important the trip, it starts with the first step. A few people can do anything. You know? And so that's Georgia always told me when we would have meetings and very few people would show. She would say, Loomis,
That's her.
Every great thing that's ever been done has been started by a few people, and I've seen that in the work that we've done on our campaigns.
Yes.
I mean, when you go lunch and you're out getting petition cards, sometimes it's just you.
Right.
Sometimes when you're just out knocking, I remember my daughter like, Dad, do we have to knock? We're knocking by ourselves.
No, there you
I
go.
mean, so until you get that momentum, and so if you don't think that a neighborhood association, if you don't think that a small group or civic group can change the world,
That's
we
right.
can. And sometimes my dad often said, you can't change the world till you change the neighborhood that you grew up in.
Amen.
And you do that house by house, block by block,
Amen.
street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood.
That's right.
And then one day you'll look back and you will have made a difference.
Absolutely.
And that's what this voting is about.
It's absolutely about that.
It's about changing the community, man.
Exactly.
And so,
we're
excited.
We are super excited. I mean, it's absolutely something you should be excited about as well because it affects you as well. And I see Jeff, he got such a smile on his face. This is what I love working with Jeff, okay? Jeff, he is, ever since I met him years ago, even when we redid a house.
Oh, really? Wow. Didn't know about that.
We did a house together.
Oh, wow.
He just read.
I love it.
I've never heard that story.
There's a story there.
All I know is that he worked with Georgia Blackman at McRae's.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Oh, wow.
You see, Jeff has always got his hands in the good stuff.
Yeah, Jeff is everywhere.
Yes. And I have to commend him because I still had that first original proposal back from that house. Way back then, I still hold on to that because of the difference you made. But when I bring that up to say it was a difference we made in the community,
right?
Together, and that's that small thing that we did that we took on. But look what it did for that gentleman that passed away not too long ago.
And actually, I was out dropping literature in that neighborhood the other day, and I ran into Mr. Montgomery's grandson.
Oh no, really?
Yep.
Is
So
he
he knew exactly
is he
who I
still
was.
there?
Yep.
Wonderful. Yeah. Because everybody's saying, what are they talking about? Way back then, we took an elderly person, we redid their home. We did the whole thing. Everything was donated. Wow. And we rebuilt his home because he needed it. And from the inside out, the electrical wiring, the contractors, everybody donated their time. And we went in, boom, 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 pulling up carpet, the whole 9 yards to make a difference. And I tell you, Mr. Montgomery was something else. I just want you to come and pick me up in a limousine.
But yeah, that ties right back to what Lumon's talking about, bettering your community. And
right.
That's how you get credibility, and that's where you build trust.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
that's where people understand that you do have their best interests and the best interests of the community at heart. And that's why, people say, well, some people just come around during campaign season. You have to build relationships every day.
Thank you. Every single day.
Every day.
Every day.
And then that gives you an opportunity to have some conversations that people might not feel comfortable having with someone that they don't know.
Absolutely.
If you already have that relationship, I feel comfortable to come ask you.
Right.
Because I know you.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Jeff, I met some incredible people who have become a part of my life because of elections and campaigns. I mean, you knock on a door and there's a 78-year-old man that's sitting there. The children are gone, grandchildren are gone, and he just wants someone to talk to. He wants someone to listen to.
No doubt.
And as Jeff said, when you go back and talk to him on an off season, when it's just not an election, to let him know you're thinking about him, that's the difference.
That means so
and
much.
when you talk about media, social media, and all those things, it doesn't matter what people write. When people really know you, they know you.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I often tell people, we work very hard in our district. We don't care what the adversaries say, what the opposition says.
That's right.
We're going to get up each and every day. Each one, reach one, each one, teach one.
Thank
We're
you.
going to do that every single day.
Absolutely.
And, as my dear friend Troy Rafferty says, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means you ought to listen more than you talk.
Thank you.
And so if you can listen at other people's ideas, then you can move forward. And
I
so
agree.
Sonshine, to me, there's nothing magical
Nothing.
about, engaging people.
I agree.
When you show love, people give love back.
Every time. And I can attest to that. We are down to the raw now. Clarissa, what are your parting words?
Well, she looks different from when I first came here this morning. You've transformed. She didn't have on lipstick or
mascara.
I mean, every commercial she put on something different. This is amazing, unbelievable.
You know what? I'm not.
We got 2 minutes for Clarissa.
You know what? Everything that has been discussed, except for the last 20 seconds, all of it is so important, so vital. When we think about stories from things, you know, we can all connect to something from 10, 20 years ago. You and I, when we first met,
long time ago.
Oh my goodness, you know, the things we've done in the community. And it is about, I mean, I knocked on doors and saw a need, and I went back and, you know, handled whatever.
Exactly.
You know, and got to know that person.
Right.
And got to know that family. There's so many people that I've gotten to know. I wish I was as great with names as he is, because sometimes someone's name will escape me.
Don't feel bad.
But like, I can remember how I met the person and what, you know, the situation, and, you know, and I run into those people, you know, from time to time again, and they're people I've checked on.
Right.
And that is really what it's about. It's about community, it's about caring. And when you go out to vote, and let me say this,
2 minutes.
One, it's
you've done a minute and 30 seconds. I mean, so
it's important to know the information, and it's important to have people that you do trust. And one of the things, even on my off day, you know, or off game, I'm looking up information, because I'm always having people calling me, asking me about how to vote, what to do, this, that, and the other. And so I have to.
Absolutely.
You know, even when I'm not feeling like it.
Exactly.
Do my research.
Absolutely.
To know which way to go, because I don't want to tell someone something that I don't know.
So you need to get in touch with Clarissa with the lipstick or not. You can get it.
There you go.
And Jeff?
Hey, she bought lipstick. And I mean, she's a trooper.
Yes, she is.
Yeah. I mean,
And Jeff, your parting words?
30
seconds.
If you have questions, ask them. Don't think there's a question that's too silly or it'd be embarrassed. You know, we've got some phone numbers here for you right now. Sunshine mentioned the phone number for the Escambia County Supervisor elections, 850-595-3900. They got 10 early voting locations starting Monday through November 2nd. In Santa Rosa County, they've got 6 early voting locations, and that number is 850-983-1900. Both of these professional staffs will be happy to answer any questions you have.
Absolutely.
And
everybody,
any email that you've gotten from Supervisor of Elections,
10
please,
seconds.
if you haven't opened it, open it, because some districts, some polling locations have changed. You need to be aware of them.
Absolutely.
But either way, you can just go ahead and vote early and not even have to worry about that.
And this is what we're going to say on that note. If you need any questions, 850-595-3900. Now listen, it has been a fantastic Friday, been a great week. Leaving you as I do every single day. Never lose your focus. Always remember to keep God first in whatever you do. Handle your situation like that, and I'll guarantee you this, you're going to be a total success. So until Monday for another day of sunshine, know that I love you with a perfect kind of love. Keep shining while I'm gone. Have a great weekend.
Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.